I got involved in this particular race because of what I saw as a lack of fiscal discipline at City Hall. I do believe, as Bill mentioned, that long-term planning is a key factor in keeping costs down. And I don't understand why we allowed the city to siphon more and more money out of capital improvements to pay for a bureaucracy, including too many firefighters. The state auditor came in saying that we could cut between 4 and 22 firefighters and not endanger anything. In fact, even before the tax, they were talking about closing the fire station 4, with or without the tax. So over the years, there wasn't long-term planning. There was a reaction of, gee, we need more people, we need more people, we need more people. So where can we get the money? Well, let's get it from the capital improvements budget. Consequently, you have the streets and the sidewalks and the curbs and the other infrastructure in the condition it's in today. Yes, we have to make some tough decisions. Those tough decisions were supposed to have been made during that 3 years of a temporary tax. And they were supposed to make things happen during that period of time so that the tax would end and we could move on in the community. Instead, at the end of 3 years, they determined that they wouldn't make those tough cuts, which are now going to be forced upon them because we, the citizens, decided we would not pay a permanent 0.25% tax. So they are now going to finally be forced to make some of the tough cuts that we would have had to have made a long time ago. If our personal budgets had been in the condition that those were in, we wouldn't have waited this long for it. So when the permanent tax was proposed, I was dead set against it. I was even more convinced to run when 2 months after the tax was defeated, they suddenly found an extra $2.2 million. Not a lot of it from Marathon, more from projects that had been closed out that had extra money sitting there and other places. So they found a lot of money, surprise, at the end of the year. And yes, they have allocated $1.5 million of that to capital improvement. Thank goodness, that's been underfunded for so long. It needs more money. And in fact, yes, there is a new 5-year plan that was just presented for capital improvements within the city. It just got presented on Tuesday. Obviously, I haven't memorized all the numbers yet, but there's a lot of information here. It's a step in the right direction. It still does not catch us up. It spends about $2 million, as I recall, on resurfacing this year. We're about $4.5 million behind based upon the administration's projections. So we have a lot still to do. Some things have happened to move us in the right direction, but I'd like to be at the forefront of making sure we solve some of these problems for the long term. We get long-term planning in place and we make the tough decisions back when they're easier to make. Back when maybe we could have laid off 4 firefighters instead of 19. So I ask for your vote. I am a fiscal conservative who will try to continue and maintain a balanced budget without reaching into your pocket again. One of the ways to do that, in addition to cuts, is to grow the revenue. You can grow revenue by building jobs, by creating businesses, by increasing the tax base rather than the rate that people are paying. on a national level, we hear all the time, you increase taxes, you kill jobs growth. You hurt the economy with tax increases. So I'm a supporter of keeping that where it is today, building jobs, creating more revenue for the city that way. And so that's a key difference between the two of us. I think, just one last thing, since you brought up the letters in the paper this morning, the letters weren't saying shame on Shadle for making a tough decision. They were saying shame on Shadle for, in the first 2 meetings that we were at, saying that you voted against the tax and leaving it at that, telling that partial story, rather than saying that you voted against the tax because you wanted a bigger tax.
John,
and that's why
John, on the first